welcome to KF&JF podcast. Here today, I'm with my homie here. With Great, introduce yourself, man. Tell them who you are.
This is Cool Fool. I'm with United Minority Business Ventures, and thank you for having me on the podcast today.
Oh, no problem, man. I'm glad that you're here. We're able to talk a little bit about some of the things that we're trying to do and how we're trying to uplift our people in the community, as well as
Mm.
being black owners. And this world that we live in today is so hard to even be associated that way. But here we are today, starting off this podcast with KF and JF, trying to get things going. So tell me a little bit about what you've been doing today, man. How's everything been going on your end?
Well, I'm just trying to get my business going. I'm doing the footwork for getting it established. You got to you got to put your name in the paper and get all that stuff established. Once you get all that stuff established, then now it's about the groundwork, the footwork, getting yourself acknowledged in a sense. Getting exposure. Creating the fan base. Right now, I'm just trying to get a domain for myself. Right now, we just
Is
have the
that one of the
name right
hard
now.
things to do is get that domain? Is have you figured that out? That's one of those hard things to try to figure out what is actually going to be your business name and what you're going to carry forward. What have you found in that researching that for yourself?
Well, I wanna. A lot of businesses nowadays, we're trying to keep a black business going on, like black dollars just recycling some amongst, what I mean, so we can keep the funding within the community, so we can keep
Hmm.
doing that, and that'd be a lot better than what I mean, put throwing the money over here, throwing the money over here, and you don't never see it back. You don't never A
Right,
lot of
right,
people that
right,
get
right.
successful and they don't, they might give back. I mean, they might make a little, a little storefront or something. They might have some merchandise, but are you hiring the people that's
Right,
in the
right,
community that you're
right,
selling
right,
to?
right. And I think that that is something that I'm striving to trying to do too. As far as everything that I'm doing with my podcast and businesses, I'm trying to figure out how I can make sure in my mind and in my business platform to make sure I'm hiring the people in the community, and then I'm also hiring people of color as well, so that we can be recognized and also be put out there as being a part of the workforce that are successful. And that image that when you come into a store and you see somebody that say, oh, who's the owner of that business, and they see you, they're like, oh, well, wait a minute, I wasn't sure that. I thought, well, who's your boss? Well, is it you? No, I am the
Yeah.
boss, so therefore that makes a difference. So I think that that's a big part of how we're supposed to give back, in that way, is trying to show ourselves in that way.
That reminds me of a show I watched too, and the lady, she was talking about how me the she was being uh, they didn't want her service, they didn't want her business, so they was like, hey,
Mhm.
she was like, I got a reservation. She's like, no, we don't want you guys, we don't want you here. She was with another group of people.
Mhm.
It was on a TV show, and then she immediately like went across the street and she started blogging like, hey, the race is over here, and
Right,
it's
right,
probably
right,
some white guy and all this
right,
sort of stuff. And it turns out that the owner of the establishment was black. You
right,
know what I mean?
right.
So it was just like a slap in the face. So she's talking about, they were prejudiced against black, and it was a black business.
That's
You know
right,
what I mean?
right.
So
Well, yeah.
sometimes the higher class type areas, it's like you don't even suspect it. So that
Even be
was
you
a
say you saying even being a black owner having that prejudice against blacks.
yes, yes. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna, as we like, my business is more on the foundational. I'm ground level. So people who's on the ground and trying to get up and running, I want to grab them and we're all gonna come up. But you have people that might be already up there on the top. They got there, or whatever struggles they went through and they got there. And
Mhm.
now they're looking at the people on the bottom like, you got to do a little bit more for me to uh, uh, merge with you, or do some kind of collaboration. And for me, I'm just looking for the right people to, what I mean, grab inside my company
Is
and,
this
and help
something?
grow it and expand it.
Yeah, is this something that you, as you planned for your business and was able to kind of establish yourself as a black business owner out there in the process of doing that? Has it always been something that you wanted to do as far as making sure that you was going to pull from that and lift people up in that way, or were you always thinking about, okay, well, how can I get to the top and not really worry about whether or not I'm pulling anybody up? I'm just going, if it's whites or whoever's up there, I'm going to them. Or you really truly trying to grab from the bottom and build something that you can say, okay, I've connected to my community. I've connected to the people that looks like me. I've connected to everything that I think that will help me be more consistent in my brand.
Well, it's in the title actually. You know what I mean? It's a United Minority Business Venture, so I'm more geared towards minorities. You know what I mean? People who's not getting a fair shake.
Mhm,
People who is
mhm.
being discriminated against. You know what I mean? So I'm more so specifically working with them, but all comers can help. The growth. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
But in the community, anyways. There's always whites, Hispanics, and a mixture. Asians, the
Mhm.
islanders. There's always a mixture of people, give or take, what community you're in. But specifically for mine, what I'm trying to do is all the businesses together. So say like there's an event that we have. I'm gonna try to grab everybody who hasn't maybe had the experience or maybe has had a little bit of experience and grab them and say, hey,
Right,
I
right,
got this
right, right,
event I'm trying to do. But
right.
in order for me to get in there and get my foot in the ground, I want to bring y'all with me. So now it looks like more of a conglomerate of community based and business based to where now we're networking. We're
Right, right,
networking. I'm not just selling you my products and trying to do my business stuff because
right,
my business is actually other people's business.
right,
So
right.
our
Okay,
our, our
okay,
thing my
okay.
thing is to get you to the spot that you might not be able to maneuver and talk right or do certain associations and go different places and speak the right lingo. So my job is to just get you there. So I'm gonna find the event, and then I'm gonna let you know, like, hey, if you don't have the licenses and stuff that's needed, you can go up under me
Right,
and
right,
and
right.
still get your booth there. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
It will
right, right.
just display your name
Right,
there.
right, right, right. I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome because that's some of the things that a lot of us need when we're out there trying to promote our product or promote our businesses, is that we don't have that liaison to be able to have someone that can work to get us in those business event and get us in those that even know the different types of places that you need to get in, because everybody's a little afraid of that's a white event, oh, that's a black event, or this particular event. And you have to be able to know that all of those events are part of building the brand and building, putting your product out there. So having somebody that can lead you in that way, or have a liaison between that, is really, I think, an awesome business to have, and for people like me need.
Yeah, it's really about empowering, motivating, and this when you grab like so say, let's look at the advertising. So when I go and I approach these people, I'm gonna be like the person at a business, right? So when you go to like McDonald's or something, it's already there. You already know it's there.
Yeah.
They got all these things that you're going in. So when I go there, I'm gonna be like, okay, well, look at what do you need? Okay, if you need this type of business, you need this type of person, like say like a staffing agency. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So I would be like the person that they go through, and it's like, okay, I'm about to give you exposure. I'm gonna open you up to an audience you might not have reached, who
Hmm.
don't know who you are, and now
Hmm.
they're going to know you because I'm putting this footwork in. And it's not about saying that me thing, but it's just saying that you always get an introduction through somebody. You're going to be introduced to somebody. If you don't actually meet the person yourself, you're going to get introduced to somebody. So I'm going to be like you know the the
The
front runner.
liaison, that's
You know what
basically that
I
guy,
mean?
that guy that's going
I'm,
to do that. So
I'm going to be the host, like how you the host, and then I'm
right,
going to be
right,
like, well, hey, here we go. The guy I was talking about, the girl I was talking about, the business I was
right,
talking about.
right,
Here
right,
they go,
right,
right here. And I'm going to be telling them the same thing. Like, look, what
right,
do you
right,
do?
right, right,
Or
right,
if you're
right,
an athlete or something like that, you want to get a game or something. You got a manager who goes out and tries to get you, that play, that contract that you want. So
right.
in a sense, I'm looking to do this for other, uh, uh, you know getting off the ground.
Right.
People who
Right.
don't, they
Right.
got the ideas, they got the willpower, they got the motivation. They might not always have the funding, but
Right. Right. Right.
they trying to get it done.
Right.
So it's
Right.
like,
Right.
okay, well, if I can establish myself as being the ladder that you climb in a sense.
You're right.
You know
Right.
what I mean?
That's
So
true. That's
those
true. That's
steps
true.
that you
Right.
doing, the ladder is already here. You just got to go
Just
ahead and
go
go up the
right,
steps because
right,
you know what I
right,
mean.
right, right. I think that's awesome, man, because that's one of those things that the way you put that analogy together, as far as having the steps, that the ladder is there. You just happen to be a person that guides them up those particular steps to making sure they reach their goal. Because the bottom line is to try to get to your goals and try to get to yourself established in the place that you feel like you want to be in. So I think that that's something that it's needed, really, really needed as far as business that are out there. And the other thing about it is being able to take the people from the bottom up, right? So that's the key. And in our community, there is a lot of people and businesses that are not really taking the time to pull up people. They're just either expecting it to be one way or another and not really helping those guys that are at the bottom just trying to start out, and that's what you're trying to do, and I think that's awesome.
Well, there's another thing in about the business though too, because you have times in when you're trying to establish some kind of leeway for somebody else. So now it kind of falls on my reputation or whatnot, or
Right, right, right,
my speaking, my introduction. So they're going
right.
on face value that I got somebody who's about to do this, or I'm telling you like, hey, I
Hmm.
need you to do this. So
Hmm.
if a person is trying to get their business together, they feel like they're the president, they're the CEO, I can't tell you nothing, then you
Right,
start
right,
having
right,
a conflict. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, look, we need to put this amount of money in here. We gonna do it together, or am I gonna fund it first, or are you gonna fund it and I just, we run with it? However it's gonna go. Some people might have, just that's like a sunk cost. It's like a lost cost. So it's like the money's gone. You know what I mean? You didn't
yeah,
deliver with what you said you was gonna do,
yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
once I can explain it in such a way, and then you get there and you're like, hey man, this ain't like what you said it was. It ain't just
Right,
easy
right,
flow.
right,
It ain't like
right,
this. So then it's like, okay, well now once I get up here, I'm gonna look at the guy on the bottom like, I don't really want to, I had bad experiences with this. You
right,
know what I mean?
right,
So I'm
right,
not gonna, maybe you do need to have a little bit more experience. You can't get that experience through me,
right,
but
right,
get a little more experience, and then I'll mess with you. And then it's
right,
like, okay, well, damn, I'm trying to get there. Man, this happened, this happened, this happened. You know
right,
what I mean? But even all those things that happen, that's money. Everything costs money. Everything costs
right,
time.
right, 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 right,
Everything. That's labor. That's footwork.
right,
You
right,
know what I mean? So once you
right,
apply all that, I can see how it happens.
right.
I can see how I can get up there, and I'd be like, well, hold on, man, your track record ain't too good. You know what I mean? You done had a couple of stumbles, and now you're trying to work with me. You might stumble some more and cost me some. You might cost me some clients. You might cost me, future business. So those are like contingency things. So
Right,
what I mean,
right,
I'm trying to think ahead of that. That's why there's multiple different aspects to look at this. You want to have somebody who does security. You want to have somebody who does cooking, who does fashion, and let's grab all these guys together. Then it's a win-win situation because you're all making money and you're all in the same spot. And it's up to you once we get there.
right, right,
Let's throw that out there right there. It's up to you. If anybody can get me to right here, then it's up to me to make the opportunity actually happen and become, hey, I need to start fishing for this person or this other business that's right here. I need to go talk to them, to let them know, when's the next thing that we can collaborate on with them. So I mean, you got to build off the next person. You can't just,
right,
sit up
right,
there and be like, okay, I'm going to wait on you to call me again and let me know. Now you're sitting on and just waiting on me. I mean,
right, right, right,
that's
right,
something different. You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
So
Well,
I mean,
all those things to do with a business is, and then also what you're saying about lifting somebody up and then having that, you know, um, conflict with someone that you're trying to lift up, but yet all they're thinking about is how much of control they want to have. They're the boss. They're the ones who making all the decisions, and they're not able to listen. Basically, that's the key, right? If
yeah,
they're not able to listen and be able to be able to take constructive criticism in the business platform that they're trying adventure into, then they're not going to be, they're not going to be a good partner in trying to try to see where you're trying to take them. So especially if you're putting yourself in a position where you're putting them out there, you're putting your reputation out there, where you're saying, okay, well, this is how I see this person. This is how I see this business, and you put it in. You're talking about that out front, and then you don't really have that real connection with them. It's just gonna it just doesn't work. So I think that's great that you got that in mind as to how you want to how you see your business working. Tell me some of the other things that you think that you're able to accomplish with that, and what you think that will help you to get to that level that you're trying to get to in your business.
Ultimately, you know, my thing is to have like a parent company, you know what I mean? Like an umbrella,
Mhm.
and everything up under me. Like think of a pyramid, and we're slowly stacking ourselves. We're making a foundation where we're got the to where we're all building up together. So it's sort of like a corporation in a
Mhm.
sense. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Where
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
got the president, you got the head, you got this guy, he's making all these decisions, he's doing all these things, and you got everybody down here, you know what I mean, that's going through all and everything makes the company works. You can't have, the mailroom guy not delivering the mail, you know what I mean, and nobody
Right.
doesn't know anything. You can't have the workers at the office not knowing what to do, or messing up something on something that they typing or doing. It's like misinformation type stuff. So what I'm trying to do really, and what it's going to help is just to have people who are honestly, trying to get to where, what the elevation status that you're saying or you're presenting yourself as trying to get to. So I
Well,
want to
I
be the
think
boss.
I think that I think I
You
think
want to
that's
be the
powerful
CEO,
because
you want to be the president,
yeah,
you want to be all these different things. You know what I mean? So
yeah, yeah.
how are you going to get there if, what I mean, if the person above me or what I mean, if somebody who's trying to show me the way, and I'm sitting up there like, nah, you don't really know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, that's not gonna fit for me. But I'm trying to give you the game, you know what I mean, to come over here and be another MVP on the team. But you're like, you know what, I want to be a solo agent, you know what I mean? That was good, nice, man. I'm gonna go over here and do this.
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean?
right,
So I'm
right.
trying to alleviate, any
Trying to build a team.
hurdles like
You're
that. You know
trying
what I
to
mean?
build.
Anything I gotta any
Yeah.
obstacles that's presented in that type of sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I think what you're trying to do, and it's kind of similar in the way that I think that I had to approach what I'm doing. Is it is a corporation, it is an LLC, but and you're trying to have all of these different players that are underneath that LLC or that are working within that business. But the goal is that they all have the same view as to how they're trying to get the business to succeed. So, and you have to have players in there that's going to be able to, um, buy into the fact that this is what we're trying to do. This is what the business is all about. So, and that structural way, yes, you're building that pyramid. You're building things up from the bottom, and you're trying to get everybody in the same mindset and the same thought process as far as how we're going to move forward into the business. And
Right.
I think that's just how it has to work, because not every person that owns a business is good at everything they do, and my
Mhm.
sister is pretty good at telling me about have everything that works in your wheelhouse, right? Whatever it is that you really know how to do, you do. And whatever it is that you don't know how to do, you need to give it to people that have that experience and have the knowledge for that. But the whole key in doing that is making sure that the goals are the same for how we're trying to build the pyramid, how we're trying to
Right.
build the success in the business. And I think that way you do that, that's an important process that people need to go through, and business owners, and a lot of us that are business owners, and sometimes black, white, no matter what your race is. Everybody wants to be the boss, and everybody wants to think they're the boss of every part of the business. And I think about that like Jerry Rice of the football team, the Cowboys. He wants to be the owner, the coach. The only thing he can't do is play. So, but the same process is. that he needs to delegate. He needs to be able to let things go and let people be able to make the right decision, I think.
I like to look at advertising, marketing, and promoting.
Hmm.
And social media in a sense. So everywhere that there is a business, they had the marketing stuff, they had the advertising, somebody had to promote it. So my ideal is as simple like, okay, we got uh KF&JF, we got the podcast. So, anywhere that you may go that you have an advertisement of, you say who's supporting you, who's backing your team, and you put United Minority Business Ventures. So then whoever else you go on there, you put them on there too. So when people see a flyer of you, you're not just advertising, marketing,
Well, right, right,
yourself.
right, right,
You're
right.
saying like, hey, I got multiple people who's you believing in what I'm doing. So look at in that, in the sense that gives people a sense of security.
Hmm.
If you just a lot of times where you're you by yourself, nobody's never heard of you. Nobody even knows anything about you.
Right,
And a
right,
lot of
right,
times when we're first starting off, we're not going to have no long feed of information because we're just now doing things. We're posting little things here, we're posting little things there.
right,
We're
right,
doing little podcasts and stuff like that to put on there. And then that's gonna make people think, I call like, what else is they doing?
right,
But
right,
if we can alleviate that, now
right,
the way to get around that is to find these people and put them up. Find the ones that have businesses, the one that already have it. You know what I mean? They're already got the thoughts going. They might already have merchandise. They might already have followers or something. They might already have
right,
a
right,
social media site where they're advertising all this stuff or they're selling their merchandise on. You know what I mean? But they're just not really going there. You got Shark Tank and all these elaborate
right.
shows and stuff like that. But you got to think of there's millions of people trying to get into the business. You know what I mean? So they're never left without somebody to reach out to and say like, hey man, let me coattail you if you can't if I can't coattail, you know what I
You
mean?
right, right,
and
right,
and
right,
and
right,
it's like okay, and then when you build on that, and once that goes down, and you because it's going to take trust, it's going to take contracting, it's going to take a lot of things, to come into play, licenses and all that stuff, and who's actually doing what type of collaboration is it? Is it, you know, we can have the podcast, but during our podcast, we're going to mention so and so business, and we're going to flash their merch as a podcast.
right,
You know
right,
what I mean?
right,
Those type of things are the collaborations I'm talking about. So that way, we're each building, we're each come, and then
right,
have on the bottom of the screen down there and be like, okay, well, on the side, out of each podcast, out of each thing, when somebody's watching these things, and it has like, okay, these people support me. It's this business right here. It's a food spot. It's a the clothes, the stuff I'm wearing is from
right, right, right,
such and such business. And then people's going, but they're going to be looking at it like, okay, he's doing something. Matter of
right,
fact, let me check to see what else they got.
right,
Because you're
right, right,
every time we're doing a podcast, every time we're throwing this out there, and then we have the people who we're actually working with. We can go take some pictures in front of their storefront, you know, or,
right,
go
right.
different things like that, or even put posters or advertisements inside their
Into the
store
oh yeah, yeah,
to
yeah,
to,
yeah,
to bring
yeah, yeah, yeah.
eyes
Views
to
to
the
the yeah,
podcast.
yeah, right, right,
So once if
yeah.
you think of it like that, then those are the steps. That's the ladder. You know what I mean? That's how I want. That's how I'm going to be going about getting it done. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So it's never really going to be just me by myself. It's going to be a group, and I like to include everybody in it. So there's always going to be a meeting. There's always going to be phone calls, group chats and stuff like that. So everybody's on the same page. Once somebody starts saying like, "Oh, I don't know what y'all doing," you know what I mean? I don't agree with this. So okay, well, give us your opinion. What's a better route? If not, then there's not one route to take on anything.
Right,
There's
right.
multiple
That's true.
different paths. That's why
Right,
we want multiple different people, so
right,
we're never missing a beat. We can do it
right,
this way. We can do it this man. Hell, let's do it all the ways. You know what I mean?
right,
So
right,
in that way, everybody gets marketing, everybody gets promoted. Everybody gets advertising. And everybody gets money coming in.
well,
And if
I
I'm
don't know.
buying from you,
I just don't know how sometimes, as we, try to work as in the black owned community, owner community where we have a lot of black owned businesses out there. And I know there are a lot of them out there that's doing exactly what you're saying. They're marketing each other, they're pulling each other up and doing that. But I just don't know how they're working with from the ground up. Are they really showcasing those businesses that are just starting to, or are they just stepping over them to get to the next guy that's up there, and then I'm just wondering if sometimes that create the friction in the community where we're not able to buy from each other in that way because we don't really see each other in that way. We jump around and we jump around here, but I wonder how we can work on being able to get our people to start spending the money in there because that's the only way we really can gain some success is being able to sell the products that we're out there trying to promote.
Well, a lot of that is going to be education.
Yeah.
The stuff that I know how to do that, I got it written down. I mean, I got stuff written down. So, coming from the ground is first, how to permanently own your name. How to start opening up for a bank account for your business. How to get your PIN number, get your what is it, the IRS number or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. The
All those
EIN number.
taxes,
Yeah,
ID.
yeah.
Once you get all that, then you know that this guy is serious about getting his stuff
Right,
done.
right,
You
right,
know what I
right,
mean?
right,
So
right.
once now, if you're now me saying from the ground up is somebody saying, "Hey, I got this idea. I've been doing it kind of like over here. I've been kind of doing it over here." I said, "Well, look, let's legitimize your business. That way, we can make it a nonprofit. You know what I mean? Or you can come under my umbrella and be a part of, be a branch off from me. And you can use my name because I already got it. You know what I mean? And then we can start doing it that way. And if it comes to like money things, see, money is always an issue in jobs and
Right, right,
businesses and
right,
stuff when
right,
you're
right,
coming up
right,
because
right.
you got to cover if we're spending so much on marketing, we're spending so much on promotion or making the merchandise. Like if the things of a clothing line, you gotta pay somebody to make that stuff and then regurgitate that stuff back out. So now if you're making more than what you're actually selling, then you know what I mean your business is probably gonna flop because now you got a whole bunch of merchandise that you just stuck up there, nobody's really buying it. So now we got to have more of a reality
A
check and see
marketing
what is
strategy,
actually going to
basically.
sell.
Yeah, right, right.
What
Yeah,
is
yeah,
selling,
right.
and what ways can we sell it? How can we market this? Can we put it on this side? Can we put it on this side? Do we have to lower the cost in order to get rid of it to get noticed? You know what I
Mhm,
mean? To
mhm.
people have looking at it. So we have stuff like that. So if we're doing it like that, then it's like, okay, well now let's go look at these events. Let's go look at these shows that they're having and see how do we get in there. Let's go ahead and get in there. If there's a fashion show or something, or really, when I be thinking of the grounded thing, I be thinking of ways that we can do it ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
We
Okay.
the guy who's up there who got an attitude or he think he didn't put in this work, so he deserves this little pedestal that we got it on, and we gotta like look up to him and stuff like that. Versus him saying, "Look, I was where you was at. You know what I mean? I'm gonna try to help you out. I'm gonna try to just show you instead of even going through all that, look at we can go and hire some people that we know
Right, right, right,
or just meet some random people who like,
right.
hey, do you model? Do you do this like this? And this way, you're
Right,
giving other
right, right.
people
I kind of
opportunity.
thought about that. I kind of, being in a situation that, we're in somewhat. I saw somebody, I was like, man, I would love to get that particular person to model certain things or to do certain things because everything was there. All I need to do was put the package on. And I was just thinking, well, I said, oh wait, I can't go and do that. I can't knock on that door like that. But having someone else do it or having it getting a card or giving out a card or doing something like that is not going to, I don't think it's going to harm me in any way in doing that. But I do see that as you building from the ground up and trying to do it yourself, trying to have a way where you can build, instead of having to go to all these different vending events or all these different, shows that you do with, fashion shows, you can build that setup yourself in a way.
To do is we're gonna well most likely is gonna have to happen is create our own shows, create
Right.
our own models, create our own opportunities in the sense that okay, well look at let's find a I don't know
Warehouse or some kind of spacing, you're
a
saying?
warehouse, park front or something, wherever there's they be having these open malls, these outdoor malls and stuff like that. See what it takes, for us to put a little stand right there, a little, tent like that. They be
Right.
having these phones that's off to the
Right.
side,
Right,
put
right,
a little
right.
something right that with a little box in the back and just hang that stuff. We see people do it all the time. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's just they're not just not marketing on a mass scale. We're trying to build a grow a business to it. We're not just trying to hustle off some stuff.
Right.
You know what I
Right,
mean?
right, right,
So
right.
so
That's
if we
true.
do it
That's
that
true.
sense, we're
Right,
like,
right,
okay,
right,
well,
right, right,
okay,
right.
we got to really
I
think
think
about this.
that's
We got to get this
I think
license.
yeah. Yeah. That's a
Once
big
once we get the
important
license
statement.
right there, we put the tent up. And all that's the low budget stuff. Getting the tent and the license, all that stuff. That's really nothing to do. You know what I mean? Especially if you know what I mean, if you already
If you
marketing
serious, yeah, yeah.
under your brand.
Right.
Like say you already got your brand, so we could just use that, and then now I become your employee in a sense.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
So we building off of what you already got going on, but we also selling my stuff on the side, or whoever else may be there with products to sell or merchandise to
Right,
sell.
right,
And if there's
right.
no product to sell, and say you're a musician or something, you know what I mean? Then all we can do for you is like, hey, look it, we got this event to go to. We're going to sell our merchandise. You can rap or sing or something, or you can record some stuff, however you want to record or however we need to do it, and then we'll play your music as we do our.
Yeah,
You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
So
Yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah.
all different kind of ways to mix and mingle
Right,
everything else.
right, 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 right.
Become one of the employees. Help sell our merchandise while you're selling our
Do it,
merchandise. We'll have
good.
like a box of your tapes or your
Right,
CDs and stuff,
right, right,
and then
right,
you can be
right.
like, oh hey,
I think
we
yeah,
heard this
yeah,
before. Like hey,
yeah, yeah,
this is
yeah,
me right
yeah,
here.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that
yeah,
way we're all doing it under the same, and then the person don't have to worry about getting no
yeah.
license or something like that because he's
Right, right,
working with us.
right,
He's
right,
an
right.
employee.
Well, I think that's always been a path to go down for myself is to try to figure out how I can connect with other people, whether they're above or below, and try to see how I can, mix with them as far as either leaving product for them or getting their product to help move my product or whatever it is. And I used to do that a lot, but I think I just haven't been able to be successful at doing it now and with this brand that I'm working on. But hopefully that is something, like I really like the fact of doing it ourselves and being able to find the venues and being able to find places to do things yourself and put yourself out there because you like you said you're not really just trying to give off stuff and and be some kind of fly by night product seller. You're trying to build something, you're trying to build a brand, you're
Yeah,
trying to
that see
build awareness.
that that's the difference between people who are just hustling and people who are just trying to build a business. So if you're just hustling, you're just trying to, you
Right,
got to go, in a sense, to use the terminology re-up. You're just trying to go grab it. I'm
right,
just trying to
right,
get this off and then go get some more stuff, get this off.
right,
But no, we're not trying to
right,
do that. We're trying to
right,
build a spot where this is
right,
stable, where we can grab other people and we can expand, and
right,
we got
right,
even
right,
more stuff. We got
right,
more
right.
stuff coming in. So if you look at it like that, then you know what I mean. That's the real difference of a lot of people that's doing this stuff out here. And in the business terms, you know what I mean. You have people that are going to put into the money. They're going to build a thing. But if a year goes by, 6 months
Right.
or something, depending on how they're actually even running their business. I mean, how are they advertised? Because it's one thing to buy into a spot, get the spot, throw your merchandise in there, what I mean, and have people come through it. But it's like nobody's really even knows that this place is
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I
You
mean?
got to put it out there. You definitely got
Yeah,
to
you got
put
to
that
put it
out
out
there.
there. You gotta. So that's why I always say go through your fans, go through the fans, go through everybody who's looking at it, and ask them, hey, look at, what do you have? How could you, advance me in a sense? You know what I mean? So if you might have you might have, 1,000 people, 5,000 people, 10,000 people, however many people that you have looking at your show, looking at your regular page. So I got like other pages, other places, so I could be like, you know what, let me start hitting up the fans and say like, hey, you know me, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do this, I'm on this podcast, you know what I mean, go check me out. So right
Right, right,
there,
right,
that's
right,
gonna
right.
that's gonna all
Eh,
these Facebook, these Twitters, these TikTok people. If I say I'm on your podcast,
That's
and
right.
they're fans of what I'm doing already, they're
Right,
gonna go
right.
look at your
It's your
podcast.
podcast. I
And
mean,
some of them are gonna
yeah,
be
yeah.
like, okay, look, I'm gonna stay with this guy. I'm gonna look at him a little further.
Right,
So
right, right,
and
right,
that's the
right,
same way reverse.
right, right,
If you got we got the brand, because that's what I was telling you earlier. A lot of people, we just gonna say, look, go to this site. You know what I mean? The I don't got it on, but I put on like some of your gear and like, okay, well
right,
damn, I'm on this podcast and I'm saying this, blah, blah, blah.
right, 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 right,
we talking about some positivity,
right,
I'm seeing some
right,
business
right,
stuff, and
right,
then
right.
go check it out.
Right.
And then
And I
what they're
and
gonna say, right?
really that is really the main goal at this. I mean, some of the goal at this point is to be able to not only doing what we're doing right now is to be able to do that with other people, but also being able to give out that gear as well, so that it's on both end of the screen. Because even for myself, I need to put it on and have it on all the time, and I have it. I have tons of it, and I don't even really do it, but and it's crazy. But I
Put
should.
your hat on, put a hat on, put a shirt on, and just go around.
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
got
yeah.
different colors, just put a different on. And then at some point in time, somebody's gonna be like, okay, what is that? Is that your
Right,
brand?
right. Yeah, yeah. I
I've
get it.
seen
I
that in the
get it.
stores. What
Yeah,
is that?
yeah,
Oh, no,
yeah. I
this
mean,
is
I
this is
get
my
it
stuff right here.
sometimes. Yeah, yeah. I get it
Mhm.
sometimes when I'm out there. Sometimes, even at an event, I get it too. Especially I've even had people that I didn't expect to buy the gear buy it. You know what I mean? Because they were white, so I didn't even know that they were going to be buying it.
Man,
So it's one of those
it's-
things that it's constant. You got to really you know be in the mindset of being like, oh, you know what? This is my brand. This is my product. This is me. So therefore, it should be me all the time. It should be me all the time. And so that's something that you got to constantly be aware of and try to do. So yeah, man. So how you feel about doing podcasts? You feel like you have that podcast look?
uh, you know, I, I'm digging it, man. I'm digging it. I just the other day, before we did this right here, I was thinking, I like, I just need to, think of some family members, some of their friends,
Right,
asking them who
right,
they know who's
right,
doing something right now that
right,
sounds interesting.
right,
That makes the pot. Now, remember, we're just getting off the ground, so this still is
right,
ground level. So
right,
it's like, okay, well, if we get the practicing, if we get the going, if I get, what I mean, speaking for myself, if I get, what I mean, like I know a couple of people that's doing music, what I mean, they're
right,
trying to get out there in music. So let me
right,
go grab them and say, hey
right,
man, let
right.
me do
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
interview.
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. Right,
That way,
right,
when people listen to your music, what I mean, they can actually see what's behind the music. A lot of
right,
people that
right,
got
right,
certain kind of images is
right,
they're always trying to chase
right,
the
right,
guns, the drugs, or
right,
the
right,
girls, or something.
right, right,
Let's hear the story behind that.
right, right. And
Because
I
that
think
way you
that's
don't
got to be
sound like
good.
everybody. You're
Yeah,
not doing what
right,
everybody else is doing. You're
right,
doing something different. Oh,
right,
you're on pod. Oh, you're
right,
talking about some stuff.
right, right,
Plus, you rapping. Okay, what's the
right,
music in the
right.
background? Oh, that's this
Right.
guy right here.
Being able to do that
So
though, you got to be able to ask those questions to get to that background, right? Because that's really because the music and everything is one part. You play that and you get that out there, but like you said, the background to that, and that's something that I think it's good too to be able to bring those people
well,
on and be able to do those because obviously we can do more than ourselves, right? There's
well, we always got to be mindful of who's listening. And
right,
and what we're playing and what we're
right.
saying. Are you cussing too much? Or
Yeah,
what are you
yeah, yeah.
mentioning? I
Well,
might have to edit
yeah,
some of that out. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
Well,
so so
you gotta
yeah.
know
So it
your
has to be
audience.
somebody who's able to articulate what he's
Right,
saying
right.
without so
That's
much
good.
vulgarity, without so
Right,
much.
right, right, right. I think you're right. I
Cussing
think
and cursing.
right,
I
right,
mean. On a regular, conversation, I might have been and said, a whole bunch of cuss words by now,
right,
but
right.
I have the mindset of how I gotta, articulate my words. You got to figure out, we got
I
to
think
cut
that's
through
great.
that
I think
and
that's great.
keep it on the business level. You know what I
Right.
mean? So when people are witnessing what's going on, because that's really what it
That's
is.
what they
This
do.
this is the
That's
rise.
good. Right,
This is the rise. You know what I mean? We're getting the bubbles going right now. We're just
right,
turning the fire up, and we're sitting up in here and see
right,
if we can get things
right,
going. So
right.
it's like, all right, well, once you start doing that,
Yeah, I
people are
think
gonna
you're right
start looking.
about being able to not only know your audience, but also know the people you're putting on, so that you don't get those. People can articulate their business or their ideas or whatever they're doing without having to use a bunch of n words or use a bunch of this words or anything like that, because for me that would be something I would not want to ever, ever, ever want to be a part of having someone do. The whole part of this program or this podcast is to be able to articulate your thoughts and your ideas to where people can clearly understand them, and there is no misunderstanding, right? There's obviously clear understanding in everything you're doing, and then you don't have to sit back and say, "Oh man, you misunderstood what I was saying," or "You misunderstood this." No, because if I articulate myself right, it won't be any of that misunderstanding.
That's like that backlash. You know what I mean? That's people who are listening and they're taking it out of context. So you want to make sure that when we're having these discussion, you know everybody's going to stay on point. You know
Right,
they're going
right,
to stay on subject. You know what I mean? And as we switch to a different subject, everybody's in the same in the same mind frame
right,
of what's going
right,
on.
right, right,
And what thought process going in. If you got your notes and whatnot, to the side is I got some stuff over here with notes. I just ain't really looked at them and stuff. But once we start doing all that, then we know everything's gonna be smooth. Everything, we don't got to worry about, somebody just, ranting and raving, and then we're like, we're sitting here listening, like, what does he say? What is,
right, 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 right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm
what's
with
going about? Mhm.
yeah, I'm with that because I think that's I mean obviously by doing this we've learned a lot about just the context of what we want to do and then how we see businesses and I think one of the main things is how do we see ourselves as black business owners and as in the community because that is really what's going to help us because we can't be one way on this as far as how you articulate yourself your thought process and then go out to the community and be something totally different so consistency is a big part of that and a lot of people try to fit in right you trying to fit in with the gangbangers or you trying to fit in with different this group or that group and you just got to be consistent across the board so people can see you as no matter what they're coming at you with they they can see you as something to look up to you know
Yeah, I see a lot of that too. You know what I mean? The employees that you have, the associations that you have as you come up, who's going into your business? Are you scaring away customers because you're allowing your gangbanging homies or something to come in
right
and
right
run around and run amok and hang out in front of the store or whatnot?
right
You know what I
right
mean?
right right
Or
right
are you selling for or is your merchandise selling and making these things because some rapper, up
right
and coming
right
guy in
right
the hood, or what type of influence is that making on the community now? If you look at it like this, that as a black owned business, we're already going to have obstacles and
right
mountains to climb.
right
You know what I
right
mean?
right
So
right right
now you got the other, because you do have black against black crime
right
in the community.
right
Okay,
right
let's
of
look at
course
that.
yeah yeah
So now you got the police brutality, and we can bring up all these things, the protesting,
right
people getting
right
shot. We got all that, but on a business level, it's once we're sitting up here and we're like, okay, well, look, I'm coming from the streets. I'm coming
right
from the ground level.
right
Streets.
right
I had a rough life. I done did this and I did that. Now I'm trying to put my head to business. Now,
right
okay, now do we exclude him or do we put more hands out and put more
right
comfort for him to raise
yeah,
him up
right 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 right
because
right
of that
right right
background he
right
has? So
right
he has to
yeah
be welcomed in, or she has to be, or they we have to embrace them in a sense and be like, okay, well, look it, you already know what it's like to go to jail and see the
right
violence.
right right
Now we're trying to show you, and this is for us too. This is
yeah of
for
course
me too.
yeah
You know what I mean?
this is
So I'm not going
absolutely
to
for
be
us right
trying to run around and like, okay, well, look, we got to start, holding our
right
things because we're making money now. No, I
no
mean,
no no
you might have to on some cases, depending on what the area that your
right right
place of
right right
business is at.
right
Depending on what you're doing. I'm not knocking anybody with whatever they want to do is whatever they want to do. So it's like, okay, well, but at the same time, I'm not really looking at it as the culture has a violenceness. It has a ghetto-ness to it. In the black culture, they're the booty shakers, the guns, the weed. I mean, all that
right
stuff in the videos and all that in the shows.
right
So it's like, okay, well, once we start our business, I don't specifically want to involve, you know, that type of stereotype. You know
right
what I
right
mean? But
right right
then you
right
have the mix and the throw up of are you talking too proper, or are you
right
using all
right
the
right you
ghetto
got that right
slangs?
right right
You're
right
not using all the
right
ghetto slangs. You're not
right
walking like
right
this. You're not talking like
right
this.
right
So that makes
you
so
change you
you're
acting
here.
white or you doing something different right
You know
right
what I mean? Saying so even in the business realms, what I mean, you have stuff like that, and sometimes that can influence the person who's trying to start the business because now they're looking like, hey, I don't want that title. I want to stay. Yeah, I'm still street. Yeah, I'm
Right,
still
right,
hood.
right, right,
You
right,
know what I
right,
mean?
right,
Versus saying, look, I'm a businessman. I'm about to put the suit on. You know what I
right,
mean? I'm about to go over
right,
here. I'm about to use these big
right,
words. You
right,
know what I mean?
right.
You know, I'm
Yeah,
about to make
right.
this money. I'm about to go. You know, so you do have that too. So you know, in a sense, that's why I say it's about the education. And when I say the education is just knowing, you know, the lingo, you know, the language of the bank accounts and then the
Right,
pins and the you know,
right,
and knowing how to utilize that stuff. You know what I mean?
right, right,
How
right,
to
right.
budget what you're spending and how to do this and stuff. And I got a lot of this stuff written out already. So you know, I done did some equations and stuff already. So
Well,
you
I
know, how
think
many
that yeah, I
employees are you
think
going
that
to have? You know,
right. I think that's a good way, you know, the way you're looking at that because that is a big issue, man, with people that are black business owners. Is that you know is two types that we look at. Either you too white that you didn't change, you didn't took yourself right outside of understanding where I come from, even though you know, as a black business owner, you came from the streets, you know everything about the street. Doesn't mean you want to have the streets in your business. You know,
yeah,
you don't want to
right,
you don't want to
yeah,
have the
yeah,
you want to have your business to be something where you can be proud of it and it can be something that you can bring people up and lift people up, you know, no matter where they come from, and to be able to see themselves as somebody that you know that is somebody, you know, you're not just sitting there just being, you know, stereotype as this black person from the ghetto or this Mexican person from TJ or whatever white person from the trailer park. No, you are considered a human being and that you got all the rights and abilities as anybody else. So let's see how we can get you to see that. Then use to
right,
see that, okay, this is weed, this is the gun, this is the, you know, hooker or whatever type of lifestyle you want to live that way. And I think that for us as black business owners is that we got to start to really you know, dig into that conversation and be honest about it. Like, you know what? I'm not trying to make the streets my business because you can look at a lot of these, you know, well, I mean, I think of sometimes like 50 cents for instance, you know, he's out there trying to wear a suit, but some days he's right there in the hood, everybody, you know, doing everything he wants to do. But he knows that when it's time for him to do his business, he's got a suit on, he's trying to talk to these people, and he's trying to do that. But he got the money, he made the money to be able to be able to do it his way. But from the ground up, you got to understand that you can't get all the way up there by bringing the streets all the way up there. Because
right.
somewhere along the line, the streets is gonna come to get you. You know, because they're not gonna allow you. They're not gonna want to see you do it. So if you start off with some structure to it and be able to say, okay, well, I'm just gonna be honest. I'm gonna be truthful as possible, and I'm gonna, you know, be respectful as possible to people. And all of those things that you see on the bottom, you know, and then I think that allows you to be able to not be so much at risk. People can come to you and talk to you without thinking that you changed in some way. Like you're no longer from the streets. You didn't got this money and you somebody else. No, I'm that same person, but I'm still trying to recognize I can't let this life or that life lead my life what I'm trying to do, and I can't lift people up with that life. You know, I'm really restricted in that area, I think.
I see a lot of people that I've known in life, you know, that has have had businesses, you know, or try to have businesses or try to, you know, escape, you know, the mindset, you know, the mentality of you know the being the hustler, being the homie and stuff like that. You know, it always ends, you know, as trying to perceive themselves as you're not a business person. You're just, you know, a gangster guy
Right,
who
right.
owns a business
It's
type
right,
stuff. You know
right,
what I mean?
right,
So
right, right,
so
right, right.
you're saying that you did all this work just to, you know, front the homies some money so they can do, you know,
Right, right, right,
whatever,
right.
whatever. You know, so it's like, okay, well, you know, you can't have that mindset. You gotta know that you are about to separate yourself,
Right.
you know, and be an
I think
individual,
that's the word. I think that's the
be
word.
a leader in a sense. You know what I mean? You be a motivator. You know, somebody who's going to inspire. You know, somebody else who's sitting up there saying, "Hey, I can't get out of this situation. I can't get out of this." You know what I mean? It's just like when it's just like the youngsters that's in the hood right now. and they might see, the big homie. It might not even be his big homie. It might just be
Right.
somebody just driving around. He got the car. He got these girls, and that kind of sticks in their brain as
Right.
who
That's the
they want
life.
to be if they're
Yeah,
stuck right there.
there.
They're
Right.
not given any other choices. They're not given any other road.
Right.
So when we're building these businesses, we're saying, hey, look, youngster, because we want to grab them because
Yeah.
the
They smart.
a lot of older people, they're established. They might be here and there, and we might be able to collaborate with them. But a lot of the young people right now, we want to go grab them and like, hey, look, check this out. You got a business ideas, you got talent, you got this going for yourself. You're making this go, in your favor. So, instead of we already know what jail, prison, drugs. The we already know where that leads. I mean,
Right. Right.
we
Right.
know that road pretty well. As
Right.
a
Right.
community, as a culture, as a race, we already know that. So and on the same kind of token, we kind of know where business and athletes and stuff go from. But at the same time, it's not really thrown out there. So what do they mostly throw out there? They throw out, hey, you got to be an athlete. Or you got to do
Right.
some
Right.
some twerking or something. I mean,
Right.
you gotta
Right. Right.
you gotta you gotta put on this provocative, this sexy
Dress.
image for
Right.
yourself to
Right.
feel
Right.
good about yourself.
Right.
Or you gotta say certain things. You gotta walk this, you gotta dress in this designer things in
Right.
order
Right.
to be a part of the culture. So we're
Right.
like, well, hey man, let's skip all through that. You know what I mean?
Right.
If
Right.
that's what you do, that's what you do. But if you're trying to get on a business level, and you're not trying to, okay, let's incorporate, some of the fashion, of course. Let's
Yeah.
incorporate some of the things because you have the money to get it for. You know what I mean? But are you just
And
getting it
sometimes you
because
sell into that community too, so you can
Right, but
incorporate
see
some of
that,
it.
but in that sense, that's just like how they be doing it. Okay, well, people are not going and robbing and stealing for drugs or stuff like that. They're doing it to get these clothes. You
Right.
know, what I mean? they want all the Gucci's and the
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
keep seeing this Balenciaga. The pro the girls, everybody's doing this, because they see it on TV, they see this, and they see this, and if you look at it, if especially in today's nowadays, because I was just talking about this the other day, and a lot of this is violent. They're fighting and stuff. If you really look at TV nowadays, a lot of it doesn't promote. Popular shows isn't something that's hey, showing the black man taking care of the family, going to the business, everything's going good. He's trying to uplift. He's trying to get back to the. Those. I'm not really seeing those as popular shows. The popular shows is this girl
Right.
fighting her. This
Right.
guy
Right.
beating up
Right.
on
Right.
this guy.
Right.
This guy
Right.
shooting
Right.
over here. Oh,
Right.
I'm a rapper. I'm
Right.
making I'm
Right.
making millions of
Right.
dollars, but I got a beef
Right.
with this dude over here, and
Right.
he's
Right.
making millions of dollars too.
Yeah.
And
Right.
and
Right.
what the
It's
what problem
consistent though.
y'all
Yeah. Yeah. And
got?
it's really consistent. And like you're saying, all of these shows and all of this is it's out there, and they're constantly keep showing it, and then there's no way for them to see anything good because it's constantly, no matter every level, from whatever it is, like you just said, there's two millionaires fighting, but they got to beef at each other. They're not lifting up anybody from the ground up. They're just showing that same lifestyle in the richest parts of the the community.
With a better looking house, better
Right,
they're
right,
still thugging it, but they just got a
right,
better looking house, a better area,
right,
but
right,
they're still just as ghetto and gangster as ever.
right.
And my thoughts towards that is I wouldn't even be doing that. I wouldn't have, now this is just me. This is like an odd statement. I mean, I wouldn't be having, no 4 or 5 big bling. I
Yeah,
wouldn't even
yeah.
have that on. And it's not a fear of getting robbed or nothing. It's saying I'll be making uh uh investments. I would be making like business. Let's go buy a whole complex or
Right,
something like
right,
that.
right.
You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
Let's
Yeah,
go
that's yeah,
let's
yeah.
go get
Let's
a
lift up
car lot
communities.
so
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
underprivileged people,
yeah,
low
right,
income, they
right.
have a car lot they can go to now because it's my business. If I got thousands and millions of dollars, I'm not tripping on selling this car right here for under the book
Yeah,
price.
below. Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I if I didn't do this, then I would just have it. I would be wearing the money on the
Right,
chain. I'll be wearing
right.
it right here, and I'll be wearing
Right,
that, and that's
right.
just
And you
so
know
people
what?
can know that you're making money.
It's a lot of people who are mentioning that, and I think like somebody was saying that a billionaire don't wear jewelry around his neck, but the fact that that is the from sports to basketball to movie stars, they're all gangbangers or whatever. they all are living that same and having that same image as far as what they see money to be, how money to be represented. It's this big old neck, piece of jewelry, it's $2.2 million around my neck. And I don't understand if you wearing that and you're not put. I mean, even though you put a little money in your community, if you can take that and put that whole thing into a
Yeah,
community, because you really don't need that around your neck, regardless of how much
yeah.
money you're making. So, and I
You
think
know
that
that might be the extermination of gangs in the community right there.
right,
If everything, but then like I'll say, black people, they have a tendency to, they bump heads and stuff. You be even because even if you're not in the element of the streets and banging and stuff, and you're trying to do stuff, it seems like somebody else will bring it to you. It's
right,
like,
right,
well,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
well,
yeah,
I'm doing
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not dealing with
yeah,
that stuff. But
yeah,
here
yeah,
goes somebody who's off the street
yeah,
or off the
yeah,
ghetto. Feel
yeah,
like but you're doing too
yeah,
much.
yeah, 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 yeah,
You're
right,
not
yeah,
giving back. Or you're
right,
not in the hood no more. You know what I mean?
right,
So
right,
so
right,
now I'm a hater. I'm your op. You know what I mean?
right,
Now I'm
right,
looking at you like I want to rob you or something like that.
right,
So
right.
it's hard to establish a good black owned business without at some point in time even having to deal with A, B, or C that we just talked about,
Well, I, I, I think
before
you
you can
start. I think you
actually
start straight
get
from the
established.
beginning. I think if you start out from the beginning and
Hmm.
consistency, like I was saying earlier, about who you are and how you're going to carry yourself. I think you get a little bit, because I think of Denzel Washington. I think of all of the other big stars, black stars out there. They ain't running around with no big old chain on their neck. You know what I mean?
Right.
They still out there. Ain't
Yeah.
nobody out there trying to rob Denzel. He walking the street. Ain't nobody out there trying to rob some of these other black stars out there, because the consistency that they have done over their life has been the same. They ain't never
Yeah.
had that jury. Even though they were from the hood, they still gave back to the community.
Right.
So they
Right.
were still able to walk around
No.
the community. That's why I think you got to start that, especially if you're going to be a black owned business person, or any really person, that you need to stay true to that part, and then people can
Hmm.
see you for who you are. They don't see they need to rob you. And if you put that jewelry on, you put all that stuff out, then you're creating a separation where you're different, and that's when it starts to get a little bit, that hate start to come in, and then once the hate comes in, everybody's looking to get you. You can't walk the streets no more. You can't go nowhere without, now you spending money on security. You know.
Yeah. I like how you said that right there because that just shows you that the choice is being made to be flashy like that,
Right, right,
to
right,
be acting like that,
right.
to say that this is how I have to be
Right,
if I'm
right,
a musician.
right.
Even now we still have artists that we don't ever see getting here, we'll never hear about. I mean, there's
Yeah,
thousands millions,
yeah.
we still hear it. But why does it seem like the ones who are most shown in the media are the ones that's getting trouble.
Because that's the image
Like
they want to give
let's
you.
take the spotlight off of them.
Yeah,
Don't even
yeah.
talk about them.
Right, right,
Don't
right,
show them. Let's
right,
show something. Somebody
right.
who's that's doing something. So in a sense,
This is-
that's where social media comes in.
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean?
right,
That so they're focusing on that on purpose
right.
because they know as a influencer, content creator, because that's what
Mhm,
rappers and stuff are doing. Now they're influencing all these people to act certain way. So
mhm.
once they act that certain way, then they're going to wear certain things and
Right,
they're going to go buy this stuff. So now they didn't establish the mentality and the wardrobe.
right,
you
right,
know,
right,
so
right.
and all because of this, and this is what they keep pushing. So okay, well now we get into the business. So when what business are you going to have? So now you got to start thinking, what kind of business are we looking to go after? So now are we in the business of now, and given all that we just said, the business that we have right now, is our business intentions going to be to go grab, those people that are, wearing the flashy clothes,
Nah, I want to grab the people that ain't.
it's not a big brand name, but
Right.
at the same time, we want to get them like, look, there's something else you could be wearing, there's something else that you can be giving back to, what I
Right.
mean, and how do you make them look over here to get it, or do you just totally exclude them out because you do have your Denzels and your who are not who are making millions of dollars. They're actors, what I mean, and they're not going. You got some athletes, you that are doing it. You got people who are just business owners, but that's not doing that.
You got
You
Chris
know what I
Tucker.
mean?
You know,
So
Chris Tucker was making $20 million a movie. He's not wearing a big old necklace around his neck. I mean, he may
yeah,
have a good ass watch, but he ain't got no serious necklace around
yeah,
his neck. You know what I mean? You got a whole lot of young brothers
coming up.
that came up from the same thing, but they're not trying to make that as a part of their image. You know,
Yeah.
and even their business. And they believe me, they got businesses where they're doing whatever they're doing with their business. But the fact is that how do you? I would rather have a way to go get that guy that is making that money and out there doing something and it's just naturalist way to have all kinds of money, but they're not showing him on TV, they're not showing him in the media because he's normal, or he's what do they call that, a nerd or whatever they want to call it, but he got so much that you can pull from because he's probably came up from the streets, he's probably made his money right, and he's probably got a lot of money, but he ain't ripping and running around the streets trying to do all these other things to act as if that's the image he needs to have for his kids or for his community. you know
Some people actually do realize that there's an end. You know what I mean?
right, right, right.
The
Yeah,
music, and see, that's the thing about the music industry and business, because the music industry is a business. So they're selling, and marketing and promoting tattoos, to hairstyles and the makeup,
right, right.
the dress, the shoes, the socks, the belts, the watches. So that, and it's a business in itself. But at the same time, it's like, it's like I'm saying, when I think of these events and these things of pulling people up, how do we market to the people who will be just as influenced, on a positive level? Not that having a gang of $1 billion,
Yeah,
$5 million worth of jewelry isn't
yeah,
positive. That's
right.
what he want to do with his money. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, as a business person who's trying to get up in there, I wouldn't do that. I would invest it in other businesses. You know what I mean? So that way,
Or yeah, yeah. Lifting up. I think.
it's
Yeah.
constantly, evolving into more, into more, into more, and you can keep building up off of it. But to each their own. If they want to do that, that's them. But I
Is do
just,
you see? Do
it's
you
not.
think
Let's
that
not have a problem with it. But I just think that's dumb. I mean, I wouldn't. It's just dumb to spend do all that right there.
do you think
So
it's a do
and you can pull up somebody else.
do you think
Huh?
it's just you know like they just feel like they're just don't want to help anybody because they it's selfishness, I guess that's the word I was looking for. Is that, do you think it's just a
Well,
form of selfishness? Because I mean, everybody has the ability to be whoever they want to be, do whatever they want to do with their money, and they don't have to give a damn about what anybody else thinks. And
right, right.
that's the fact of being free, right? That's our freedom to do. But I just wonder, I mean, as people have seen what's happening in our culture and in our neighborhoods and with our people, how do you change that? How do you set your people in a better position if you're going to be constantly showing them that this is the road to success? And it really is, like you said, it's an end road to some of that. Some of that, it just ain't gonna it ain't gonna work out for you all the way. Somebody gonna rob you, somebody gonna kill you, somebody gonna take your shit, or you gonna, it's gonna be a whole bunch of stuff that's going down. Even with these stars that fighting in bars and fighting in other stuff and shooting each other. How did you get shot? Well, I was at the bar. I'm like, what? What you doing? Why were you there? You got all this money. Why are you not doing it a different way? So is it just selfishness, you think?
You know, I think it goes to just the flash. It goes to controversy. Controversy sells. It's media attention. It's being relevant. It's
Mhm,
being a
mhm,
part of the conversation.
mhm.
You know what I mean? So if you're always getting into, you know conflicts and stuff, even though you're making millions of dollars, and you're going to always be in the conversation. Somebody's always going to be talking about you.
Right,
Even if you made a song, 4 or 5 years ago, but you're still messing up. They
right,
got
right.
all these like hip hop, growing up hip hop or whatever that show was called. You know what I mean? So you got people who are still, you know, in a conflict state of mind because they didn't prepare for the long term effects of making it. You know what I mean? And making money, and then
Right,
that
right,
goes
right.
away.
Well,
You know that, that
that's part of the community because we haven't trained our kids. It goes back a lot further,
well,
not
see, that's
preparation for that. How
well
to
that's what I'm saying. That they're not preparing for the long term. That's why I
mm,
say I wouldn't do that because I'll be preparing for when I get you older. Well, I'm
yeah,
about to back up away from the mic. I can't
right,
really
right.
keep doing this. I'm 30 something. I'm 40 something. I'm not gonna keep rapping. So now all them change. You ain't gonna be able to eat that. You want to you want to be pawned that. You can't. That's just dumb. So
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
be investing it. So now, okay, it's a little more ease of
Right,
transition.
right, right, right,
Because
right, right. Because you still getting the money
I just
coming in, but it's not. You don't have to go pawn something to get it all. Because once you get it all in one lump sum, anyway, you're gonna spend it all.
yeah.
So
And that's just how it goes. And I looked up a couple of things on YouTube and stuff before, and it just shows how a lot of rappers, a lot of singers, even actors and stuff like how they was, just successful. They was, what I mean, fame. Everybody's know the name. Everybody knew who they were. And then, like, a couple of years later, it's like, where you at? You're in rehab. I mean, you're broke. What I mean, or you're going through, or you're still going through conflict, or they died or whatnot. What I mean, and I'm just saying that, in the business sense, once you start getting your mind set on business, it's like a long term type of thing. There's no, in my opinion, there's no short term, no short term business that you want to have. Everything's got to be long term. What I mean? So you don't want to have I'm just got a business for 2 years and then I'm just gonna. Now,
yeah,
if you
yeah,
can
yeah,
stop that business and go to another business, okay, well, cool. But if you're just like, I just want to do a business for 2 years and then that's my goal, and then I'm gonna just stop and just drop that and just start
yeah,
doing
yeah,
something
yeah,
else.
yeah, yeah.
No, no, I want that business to still keep gaining revenue. I still want to,
Right, right. That's the
residual
key. That's the
income,
key. Right,
from
right,
from
right,
that
right.
same business. Even I don't even have to run it. I could just say,
Yeah,
hey fam,
yeah.
you go control that. Just get cut me a check. What I
Be
mean,
like a
and then
Martha
move
Stewart.
on to something else. But they're
Be like
not
a
they're not
Martha
even doing that.
Stewart. Martha Stewart went to prison. Still, she got fired from her business, but she got out of prison, and she's making more money than ever with her same old business. And I was thinking, man, how did that woman keep on making money? Because she was, she never gave up the business. She
Yeah,
constantly kept it in motion. So yeah, I think that's
like
good, man. I
you
think
know,
I, I think right now what I'm gonna do.
that still begs to ask the question of what kind of business could we have in the black culture, in black community, that we still want to do clothes, even though that happens, even though we got the the
Yeah.
controversy around it. We still want to do jewelry. We still want to do you still want to do, and it's just a mentality of what path you're going to take, and how you're going to, because no matter, even if you have your clothing line, some what if some you know gang banger or something starts wearing your clothes, and you're thinking like, okay, it's selling, what I mean? But damn, every time, something happens out there in the street, they're seeing my shirt. I don't want my shirt associated with that. Where do you go from there? So,
Well,
it's like,
hey,
so,
once it leaves that part, there's nothing you can do. You got to separate your emotions from that. You can't
um,
sit back and say, well, okay, well, I'm gonna attach myself to the person that's got the shirt on. Well, because Nike would be in a lot of trouble right now because all they shit's probably in a lot of murders right now. A lot of shootings right
I,
now. They
and see,
shoot and they shoot.
and I see that's the thing to do. So it's like, okay, well, let's go to, I don't know, the colleges, the universities or whatnot, junior colleges, and say like, hey, you know, uh, add a different kind of style to your merch and be like, okay, I want this associated with,
Positive. I
you
think
know,
that's the key.
your
It's
your
got to
your
be
your your
positive.
team.
Yeah,
Is there
yeah,
some kind
yeah,
of way I can have this
yeah.
incorporated into your I'm gonna give y'all your whole team some free
Right.
merch and shit just so
Right.
y'all can wear it
Right.
in the
That
advertising
is
sense.
definitely that is. I mean,
You know
you
what I
just
mean?
said something that is absolutely my goal in that way is that you know you're reading the bottom, you already know what it says, but I would definitely be able to say, okay, this is what I would rather see people think about themselves,
Mhm.
say about themselves, and be able to care how they would carry themselves. It's kind of a multiple, and then there's other words that can go in there, but that's
Yeah.
was what I would rather have you think about when you go say, oh, just be you, just be free, be whoever,
Just be you.
just be, and I think that that's something in saying than saying, some other thing, but going out to those particular people and making that offer is something. This is why businesses is a pyramid in a way. You got to have people that you can trust to go out and try to be a part of that and do those things for to promote that, because the business is not going to just work from one person. You need layers of people to get that done, and that's one of those layers that I really would like to get done. I've done it years ago with a product that I did, and then I got so nervous because I ended up going to San Diego State, and I had a company called San Diego Van across the USA right after September 11th, and I called up the radio station, and shoot, man, the radio stations, oh, they put me on. I was like, oh, we were just driving to work, and I just called the radio station thinking nobody was going to pick up and put me on the show. They picked me up, put me on hold, and put me on the show. Like, oh shit. So then I went to McDonald's, and McDonald's said, okay, you can put products in here. I did a fundraiser for kids to, for people to drop off food and all kinds of stuff at the McDonald's. They put it on the radio. They dropped the stuff off the McDonald's. Like, oh my God. So I went to San Diego State and say, San Diego State, I have a company called San Diego Van across the USA. I like to be able to take my product, but my whole thing was to take all San Diego companies, big companies, the Zoo, San Diego State, and I wanted to bring San Diego across the USA. So every city you sponsor me. Every city I would stop in the main city, and I would promote San Diego. I would give out free tickets to the zoo. I would give out pamphlets on San Diego State. I had this whole thing. And San Diego State called me up on my way to work and said, "Oh, come by and pick up all of the apparel and everything that you need for your travel." I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute! I wasn't ready. I was not ready to do the business that I call myself out there ready to do, and I got myself into a pickle, and so I
So
learned since
supply and
then that
demand.
wow, yeah, you got to be
So
ready.
some
You never
people,
know.
some that supply was started being in demand. You was like, oh, damn,
I got
that's
scared.
why I be saying, that's why I be saying about, having a audience. Well, it's not really an audience. Having a customer base to where we know how much it's going to sell.
Hmm.
So and then I'm sure if you have it already, then have a pre like a pre-order. You know what I mean? That because that's what I be thinking of when I be thinking of stuff like that. I was like, maybe we need to pre-order a lot of stuff. That way, you gives yourself time to get it versus saying, "Hey, I want it right now." Look at not all this stuff is on the racks or in the box and in storage that I can just kick it out to you. You know what I mean? You might want some stuff that now I got to get it remade. You know what I mean? And so now it's gonna kick out in that sense. But if
Yeah,
you
let me
if you
show
can
let
do
me
it
show
that
you
way,
let me show you this right now. I don't know if it's gonna come up, but I'm gonna show you. You see that right
yeah,
there?
yeah,
That's got some stuff I'm working on, but it's not as it's not as
tie on
that's
there and
just a big
everything.
big that's a big banner. That's a big
Yeah,
banner, but it's just that, for now, it's it's about trying to, I told myself this year I'm going to have to go full bore and try to make something happen with this, because by
yeah,
the next couple of months, that's going to be trademarked, which is going to be a lot different. I wait have to wait a whole year for that, to put that little R on there and put that circle. So then now you can put yourself out there a little bit bigger, and if somebody ever wanted to buy that, they would have to pay some money for that, in the future. So
yeah,
this podcast and the clothing line and those things is important. So let me go ahead on and figure out do a closing for us right now, and just tell me a little bit about your thoughts on we've been here for about an hour and 16 minutes or so, hour and 20 minutes, and we did real good, I think, as far as getting a lot of different information out and being able to cover some of the things I thought was really good about us is that talking about the black community, talking about how we can bring our youth up, talking about how it's important to be able to understand the business versus your lifestyle and how to connect those two things to make sure that you're actually successful in your branding and who you are. So I think that that's a lot. That's a lot because I think this is really something people can listen to because we didn't really veer off in any other way. It was kind of straightforward and flowed right through. Everything kind of flowed in our conversation. So tell me a little bit about what you think.
I think it was good. I think it was good. He hit on a lot of points, that people are, generally curious about. They're going, that they're going to be having some information for, and then when if anybody is able to listen, they might even have ideas. They might even be able to come up with, their own means of organizing, businesses in their area. You know what I mean? So anything that I'm thinking that they could get a take away from this is a positive step forward to reconnecting with people who they might not have in passing. You can be like, okay, hey, this guy is doing this, or this girl is doing this, or this business is doing this, but now you can go over there and actually talk to them and say like, hey, I got a business too that I'm trying to get off the ground. Let me put a flyer in there. I said, can I gain your support for my business by putting your name on my flyer? You know what I mean? So now you're reaching a broader, I'm talking about the business that's already established through the
Right, right, right,
storefront.
right.
I said, like, look, I'm going to expand your extend your customer base. I'm gonna because I'm over here, and the people that are over here with me, they're gonna start knowing. They're gonna start seeing this so and so, this so and so. They're gonna be like, well, let me go visit. Where's it at? You know what I mean? Let me go eat there. Let me go. Go to the auto parts store. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It got you gotta select what you're gonna do. And then you can be like taking little snapshots. And the only reason you're doing this is so when people are gradually looking up your name, they're looking at who you're affiliated with. Who's backing you, who's supporting you. What other businesses can communicate with you and say that you're doing good business. So now when we cover this right here, it's like in terms of creating your business, somebody else who's supporting you. So it's like, okay, well, now that person who's supporting you, that is all. You can even include them as a representative of your company, or a
Mm-hmm,
promoter of your company,
hmm.
because each time they go out, hey, I got merchandise, man. Wear this, put this on. Take these cards with you, and just give them to people. You know what I mean? And just or just be seen with my stuff on. You know what I mean? Somebody asks you, but matter of fact, put the website on the bottom corner of that. Put a little www dot, the on the bottom corner of some of the merch.
Yeah,
So that
well,
way
that's
when people
what I
see it,
have to do that anyway. I have to do that on a tag, and all my stuff is that way.
but
I have,
yeah, what
I,
I'm
you know,
saying is these
yeah,
ideas is
right.
is what people are going
What
to
you're gonna
want
do?
to
Yeah,
hear.
right,
Out of
right. You
everything else, you taking away ideas. You're taking away
right,
something that's going to
right,
make you start
right,
thinking like, okay, well,
right.
how am I doing my this? How am I on the ground level trying to get up? What do I got to start doing? And like really like on the bottom, like I got it. Well, I actually got it written like over here. You know what I mean? So there's like a lot of different steps to get your business name, getting your different things, and the cost may vary depending on what the state you're in, and what kind of business you have. You want an LLC, you want a corporation, a nonprofit. You got all those different things and stuff. But at the same time, when people are going to hear this, they're going to be like, okay, well, look, we're not only trying to do something for the black community, we're trying to figure out how can we open like
I
a
open
little
eyes to other people to be able to see some of the things they could
open
do,
the eyes of
what
other
they can do.
people to see and how to go about that in a positive way that's not offensive or going in a way to where you're going to have the disturbances of only way I can use is gangs and the police. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah.
and other businesses that are going to want to smash you down. Like, hey, we don't need this guy getting up. Because there's all different kind of obstacles that you're going to have. You
Right,
might even have your own people in your own family saying, hey, well, I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think you should waste your
right.
time with that. You're going to be like, huh? You're supposed to
Yeah,
be like, man, keep going, keep going. However you
right,
got to get it. What I mean? So that's why that's another thing that we need to have in the community is lifting people up. Everybody's always saying, okay, well, you're not doing nothing, you know what I mean? Or you're pretending to be a model or something like, or you're doing this. Nah, don't even approach it like that. Say, hey, you're doing good. You might, get some different merchandise, get you some different background. I mean, and be a positive, criticism versus saying, you're not, that doesn't look right, that doesn't look good. What I mean? If you could have constructive criticism
right,
that brings them down, also have something that lifts them up.
right,
Don't just point out the obvious, like, oh, this doesn't look right, this doesn't relax you. What are the ideas that come with that? Well, how do I do better? What I mean? That don't just say what you dislike. How am I going to do better? What I mean?
right,
How am I going to cut this corner? If I can't cut this corner, how am I going to go all the way down here, then make this turn and go all the way down here?
right, right,
And you're still supporting me,
right,
without cutting this corner. I mean, that's what I'm trying to get at. Because some people are like, okay, well, you can kind of like cheat right here and do this, or you don't need to really do that. It's like, no, I want my business legal. I want
right,
everything to be legal right here. I don't want to have nobody sue me or nothing. And I don't want to have nobody, you know,
right,
you see
right.
what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Hey, man. I like to tell you thank you and everything, and let everybody out there know that this is KF&JF podcast, and this is how we do it. We just go ahead on and let it hang out, sit back and just let it all come natural as far as our conversation and the things that we want to do to try to help our community and give out as much information as we can to, hopefully can help you out there too. So I would say stay up and United Minority Business Venture man here over there, who let's just hey, this has been all cool, man. So I look forward to doing this again. I'm gonna play us out right now. I appreciate you. Stay cut, stay up. All right, we're in it right here.